Bang. Yeah. What up? What's
Good?
good?
What's good? Yeah.
Peace to the world, man. Ringside Club. Every Thursday night, 9:05 live sometimes. So we're here, we're live. Two of us tonight. Peace to Bug, peace to Ron on assignment.
2-man booth.
Know what I mean? All right. Y'all that know the deal. This is the show before the show. This is survey time. So this week, survey to go around the ring is we have Kazuchika Okada versus Bryan Danielson. Forbidden Door, dream match. Who wins? Me? Kayfabe answer. Both of them are 4-1 in their last 5 singles matches. But outside of Anarchy in the arena, Bryan hasn't wrestled a match since the Iron Man match against MJF.
Yes.
Took that L. And Okada lost the title as well to Sonata, but he's active. And just the other week, just this past weekend, his squad Chaos beat Bryan's squad, the Blackpool Combat Club, over at Dominion in Japan. So I'm going to say a little bit of ring rust for Bryan Danielson. Okada takes the dub.
I really appreciate the fact the American Dragon is back to rare form, and he is not under the umbrellas of certain places in Hartford, Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut, wherever it could be. Let's go with Okada though, just because the ring rust. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to agree with you here. I think this is gonna be a barn burner though. He's gonna knock the hell out of Okada, but I feel like he could pass out quite possibly, and that'll be just fine in Bryan Danielson fashion.
There you go. Definitely a dream match. Could be the match of the year. We don't know, but one thing's for sure. This is the beginning of the show. Let's pat.
Peace to the gods, the ringside club hard. My name is A.O. Say you heard around the dawn. Blame Boogie while you at it, blame Chad Law. Kayfabe is dead, break the fourth wall. Whatever style, whether it's lucha or strong style. Come through the venue, fly, burn the bar down. Back to the pad, chop it up for the par. Ringside club, intro to the squad as the show starts.
Peace to the gods, and of course, peace to the earth.
What up, though?
What it do? Dynamic duo action tonight. Tag teaming it up. Freebird rules, so it looks like. But whatever the case, it's the mightiest of the mighty. Not ringside news. Fuck them. It's the ringside club. What's good? How you feeling tonight, man?
Feeling real fresh, you know what I mean? Got the good Harrington done, got the shape up, you know what I mean? Got the hoodie going, RSC. Make sure y'all go to the website and cop that.
Bow.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Television champ on deck.
Sky, man.
I'll bring the dogs out. Even the dogs got to bark for the television champ. You know what I'm saying? Braun Breaker entrance right now.
Yes, dog face gremlin in the background. But yeah, man. It's the Ringside Club, bringing it to you live and direct every Thursday, 9:05 live sometimes on air, but of course on demand whenever you need. For starters, you can go to theringsideclub.com. All of the shows are right there. You can subscribe. We're everywhere. We're on iHeart. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. Everywhere you get your podcast. Plus, you can check the video, of course, at YouTube. So yeah, theringsideclub.com. Plus, check us out all social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Live tweeting up a storm whenever these shows are going on. There's a lot coming up in the next week. A lot just happened this week, man.
Been busy. Yeah. Let's get to it, man.
We busy.
Get right to it.
But of course, my name, non-champion that I am, always a champion in the hearts of the people. Find your drop. Where's your drop at? So usually...
New season coming. Don't worry.
Usually I got a co-producer here, so this music stops, and then I got the other one on deck, but it's all good. We make it happen. Been a minute, man.
Best way to bring that in. It is the kid, young Godiva himself, CHADLAW, Chad Law, the reigning and sometimes defending Ringside Club Television Predictions champion, longest reigning. I'm here to bring y'all some entertainment this evening because it's been a hell of a week. Shout to everybody that's been tapped in, subscribed, liking, telling a friend to tell a friend. People that we see out that's been rocking with us. You know, we can't do it without y'all. We approaching episode 40, soon to be 50. We're gonna be at 100. It's consistency. To the people that's watching, you know what I'm saying? To the new subscribers that's checking out, you know what I mean? Y'all are also like, yo, y'all might not even watch wrestling, but it's the way we banter and joke that y'all are like, yo, I rock with A, I rock with Boogie, I rock with Chad, I rock with Ron, so I'm gonna just check it out regardless. People tell me that in the street, you know what I'm saying? You know I'm outside, so it's like people let me know, like, yo, I ain't really crazy about wrestling, but y'all make it really entertaining to follow this. So that is some good feedback to be getting from some people that's out there watching and checking us out. So much love to y'all, man. For real, for real. Got to take a second to shout out our likers and our viewers, man. Every little view, watch, share, all that counts, yo.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You and I both know the importance of building a brand from the ground up, and that goes from talking to each individual person, being grateful, showing gratitude for each second of attention. Anytime somebody pushes a like button or clicks a link to check out and see what's going on, I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? This is something that I just enjoy talking wrestling with some friends of mine, but we're also building a brand. So anytime somebody supports that, I appreciate you for sure.
Salute to y'all. We love y'all, man. Thank y'all. Keep telling a friend and tell a friend. We're going to be at episode 50 before you know it, you know?
Yeah, man. We're at 39 right now, so 40 is next week. 50's right around the corner. Matter of fact,
move next week. Hopefully, everyone will be all aligned. You know what I mean?
And I missed the four man booth. We gotta get everybody back on. But then also we got a full solid year coming up of the Ringside Club this summer.
Stay tuned for that, y'all. We're gonna have a special episode for
a solid year, the Ringside Club. Who knew? Beautiful things. But yeah, so we did the intro, then we introed ourselves. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let's get into a little bit of news. Only got two news items this week.
Slow news week, huh?
Nah, but I just don't feel like running down the news. I'm not Sam Champion with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast, man. I mean, I don't get paid for that. For starters, we have a retirement. Longtime wrestling designer Sandra Gray is retiring. She started in WCW in 1994. I saw the Sable, who was married to Mark Merrow, Johnny B. Bad, actually found her or discovered her or whatever. However they interacted, that's how she got brought into WCW, and she's designed and been a seamstress for literally everybody that we've seen on TV, all of the majors. She was in WCW until they closed, went over to WWE until AEW opened, and she's retiring now. And I think she's going to stay on to do some of Cody's stuff. Like, she still designs a lot of Cody's outfits and all of that. So I think she's staying on to do that. But I heard last night at Dynamite, just for the live crowd, Tony Khan and Dustin Rhodes came out, gave her some flowers in front of the audience and thanked her and all that. So peace to Sandra Gray. Happy retirement. And the only other news items, that was a good note. On a sad note, rest in peace to the Iron Sheik, WWE Hall of Famer, passed away at age 81. Greatest Twitter account of all time, at least in wrestling.
For real. That's wild. We were just group chatting about him. And
facts.
Hold down your loved one, tell them you love them, stay consistent, and stay on them, because you really never know. We really were just laughing and joking about Iron Sheik just a few days ago in the group chat, and then this happened. I couldn't believe it when the message came through. I had to check Twitter. You know, that's the news source. And wow, dude was just right there joking and laughing.
Yeah, man. So peace to the Iron Sheik. Thank you for your contributions to pro wrestling. Rest in peace. And condolences to the family, you know. All right, we got a new segment. It's called the sign-up sheet. I was watching Dynamite last night, and I had the idea, there's a lot of funny signs in the crowd. A lot of crowd signs. So these are all from Dynamite. I only wrote down 5. But I think in general, just whatever we happen to come across, when there's a sign that stands out, why not highlight them on the show? Couple of chuckles and laughs. So
they might be watching this too. They might even be watching this. You never know.
Shouts to the fans in there that tap into the podcast. Bring signs. I'd love to see? I'd love to see a Ringside Club sign one day. A couple fans bring some signs out. Salute to us. The first one is more of a sentiment, not necessarily funny, but I saw somebody hold a sign up and said, "Just enjoy wrestling," and I agree. That's on some currency shit. Just enjoy this shit. Jet life to the next life. We ain't gotta bicker back and forth. We don't have to pick sides. Nobody can call Vince McMahon or Tony Khan, so just enjoy wrestling.
Unfortunately.
All my homies hate Don Callis. I got a good chuckle out of that. Probably my favorite sign of the night, my wife thinks I'm at Bible study. And I was laughing because I'm like looking at homeboy that got busted open with the chain around hooks.
Preston Vance.
Preston Vance, he's bleeding, and then you see a sign like that. I could just imagine somebody's old lady like, this is what you said you were doing, and this is what you were doing. Like, there's a whole funny ass skit that could come out of that.
That was good.
And speaking about Bible study and possibly needing the Lord, these next two signs: Don Callis eats hot dogs without chewing. Whoever wrote that is wildin'. Wildin'. Major
Heavy
pause.
Heavy
Major pause. And finally, right along in that same lane, Jay White eats corn the long way. Y'all are wildin'. Y'all are wildin'. But yeah, that's the sign-up sheet. Each week, we come across some signs, get a laugh, whatever.
We do.
There you go. Cooked and prepped. What you got?
All right, cooked and prepped. This week, I will say, because I'm gonna freestyle it right now, just a little bit because I don't have my notes in front of me. Prepped is going to be Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks getting prepped.
Hold on, before you go on, this is the segment, ladies and gentlemen, where I argue with everybody, and I'm not doing it today. So go right ahead, bro.
Ricky Starks is being prepped for a real calm and coasting by summer. As it stands now, as we'll explain later in the show when we go down with Bullet Club Gold, Ricky Starks right now, he's prepped for he might not get cooked, but he's getting prepped and seasoned to get put in the freezer. And then he's going to pop out and get thawed out when it's necessary. So I'm not saying, pause, that it's going to work out in a way where he's going to get cooked right now, but he's being prepped to just sit around and kind of just be in the middle because he's not going for the world title. Pockets looks like he's doing something else. If he's not in the TNT fold in the next month or two, are we going to just have to sit through a month and 2 or 3 or trouble at the bubble of Ricky Starks versus Bullet Club Gold with FTR? I guess he's going to play the third fiddle to CM Punk and FTR, which is a cool rub, but again, that's prepping him. He's being prepped to just kind of just sit idle. So I'm going to go with prep for Ricky Starks this week.
Let me ask you a question, bro. If you're not winning all of your matches and don't have a title, you're prepped to cook?
When you have, I feel like did I give Ricky Starks a prep at one point already?
Probably. I feel like all y'all have at one point or another. Uh-oh. Connection.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. I'm sorry if I did give Ricky Starks a prep previously, because I know I didn't cook him. I didn't cook Ricky Starks yet. I just said he's just being prepped. And I said I was freestyling this just off of the card that was at hand last night. I saw Dynamite, and I saw the ending, and we'll get into that later, but he's being prepped, man. That was a stupid fucking ending, yo. That was a ridiculous ending. And I knew it was going to be some bullshit. It was going to be a bullshit ending. And there we go.
It's a bad ref bump, really. That's all it was.
The worst referees in AEW. Like, I actually might prep the referees, actually. Actually, no. The referees are cooked. Refs are cooked. The referees in AEW right now, completely cooked, yo. I don't think I've cooked any of the referees thus far, so I'm going to just go ahead and just end it with the referees, yo, because it's just pissing me off with Son, his name is escaping me because I'm so mad. It's not Aubrey, but it's the other senior official.
Oh, the ref
for the main event, which shouldn't have been the main event, but we'll talk about that later.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now. But the old ROH homie came over from ROH.
Yeah, that guy. Ridiculous ref bump.
No, it was terrible.
Honestly.
Like when y'all do ref bumps, man, like to do a real ref bump, I'm not saying y'all gotta lay the ref like actually hurt him, but you gotta make sure that shit looks good, man.
You would think that. But right now, AEW referees are just like,
yeah, for sure. Like they're definitely, refs aren't doing themselves any favors. That's
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. What you got, man?
I have a cooked and a cooked only, and my cooked is the phrase, "What's the story?" It's pissing me off. So I got some notes here. First and foremost, the Webster's definition of story is an account of incidents or events. That means when you're watching television and you see what happened, that's the story, right?
Okay.
Pro wrestling is a fictional portrayal of a combat sport. Keyword right there being sport. So this week we had Dominion, New Japan. Bryan Danielson comes on the screen. He challenges Kazuchika Okada to the match at Forbidden Door. Immediately, people start jumping out of the window. Oh, there's no story, there's no build, there's no story, there's no build. Each of their careers is the build, right? You have a legitimate GOAT challenging another legitimate GOAT to a match at a pay-per-view to see who's better, right? Keyword, sport. That's the story. If you look at UFC, right, which is a combat sport, a realistic combat sport, Dana White makes a whole lot of money by this fighter calling out this fighter. And then Dana White sits back and he says, all right, yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of people might want to see that. Book it. And then from that point through training camp up until the pay-per-view, it's not like these guys are jumping each other in the parking lot. They ain't smacking each other's old lady around. It ain't nothing crazy. It's a lot of talk, a lot of shit talking, a lot of quotes and quotables. But you get to the actual fight just because these two people really should have a fight. But put all that to the side. Bryan Danielson is an all-time great, and you already know that. This is a co-branded pay-per-view, New Japan and AEW. So a lot of people with these bad faith arguments about how nobody knows who Okada is bullshit. First and foremost, AEW's core audience came over from New Japan because the Elite are all Bullet Club people, which started in New Japan, and they came over. So the fan base is the same. If there's people that only watch Dynamite, even that, we've already seen Okada on New Japan television or AEW television. He's already been here. And the fact that the crowd is hype and the video packages look like they do, it's a very simple story. These are two legendary careers that are finally meeting. It's a legitimate dream match. That's a phrase that might get thrown around a little bit. This is a legitimate dream match. That's the story. And my theory is that it's a lot of people that, A, don't watch and talk, so you have no idea what you're talking about. You maybe only watch one show and don't watch the other, but you have to have a comment because you got thumbs, right? Or it's people that specifically pick a side as if you're part of the team or whatever, because you know that you have your little podcast and you try to get your engagement on your Twitter account. So you're going to poke the bear and just try to Democrat and Republican that shit and get people to jump out of the window because you're on the opposite side of them. So it's never a good faith argument. And then you have people like us that watch it, everything, and call everything as we see it. So people that go out here and say, what's the story? If you have eyes and you watch the show, that's the story. We can debate whether the story has legs or depth. That's a completely different conversation.
Right.
But let's stop with the bad faith arguments. Feel me?
Okay. I thought you on that. I'm big.
Yeah, man. All right, now I've been toying around with this. If you're going into topics, I've been toying around with this idea for a little bit about doing this kayfabe only thing, right? Which basically means, first and foremost, kayfabe is just understanding that what you're watching is actually real, right? Back in the day when wrestlers would say, we're keeping kayfabe, what that basically meant was that we're treating this shit. We can't, like heels and faces, for instance, can't be seen outside because we have to keep up the facade that everything that we show on TV, everything we show at the events is real because we need to sell tickets. We need to treat this like an actual combat sport.
Correct.
But nowadays, like everybody already knows what pro wrestling is. They've really been knowing what pro wrestling is since the 1930s, 1940s, but whatever. The idea that I had is like every once in a while, it'd be cool to not go in the booking and the writing and this is the heel and this is the face. If you was watching this shit the same way we watch basketball, like, oh shit, the crossover was dope, but it'd be look like if the Lakers face whoever next week, blah, 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 and talk about it like it's actually real instead of like the smart mark shit from all the way up here talking about booking and creative. Let's see if we can have some fun with that, right? So this segment, and maybe my segment's going forward, and if it actually works, maybe we do a spin-off show. Whatever,
spin-off show.
One rule, kayfabe only. That means everything is a work, so the work is a shoot. That means no news from the dirt sheets. That means no insider terms. That means I don't care who's going over, getting over. If the storyline makes sense, who could cut a promo, who should get a push. We don't use those words. All I know is super kicks are real and heels and faces are fake. So Here we go. This week, kayfabe only topic. Roman celebrates his 1,000-plus day Universal title reign and exposes the fact, in my opinion, that the SmackDown men's division is the softest division in wrestling. Softer than Raw, softer than NXT, softer than anything going over in AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, because you got this guy who for 1,000-plus days trots this title out and doesn't really defend it without help. He manipulates his family into helping him pick up the W's over whoever he's having these matches against. And you got this guy out here bragging about being better than everybody in the back. He gets presented a brand new title from Triple H, all of this beautiful shit, and nobody came out to say, nah, I want a shot, right? Jimmy and Jay came out. Jay ain't really about that life right now. Jimmy's about that life, but even he didn't say, yo, I want a shot. I went and looked at the SmackDown roster. You got former world champions. AJ Styles is on the roster. Bobby Lashley, Edge, Rey Mysterio, and Sheamus. That's 5 people that are all former world champions. Even Austin Theory right now is the Intercontinental champion.
That all haven't really, minus Edge, haven't had an encounter with Roman just yet, which I still think is to come.
It should, but that's a perfect opportunity. What are y'all doing? You have the guy who at the last pay-per-view got to 1,000 days by having a tag team match. As a single star,
yes. How does that
I would be offended.
I'd be furious though.
As a wrestler, I'd be offended. Like, yo, Damian Priest, he called out Seth Rollins. He got a title match. Braun Breaker called out Seth Rollins. He's about to have a title match on NXT. Go over to AEW or run down AEW in a minute, but Adam Cole came out and challenged MJF. Right? He has a title eliminator match. At the very least, get a chance to have a shot for a shot. Like, even with LA Knight and Montez Ford, they had the qualifying match for Money in the Bank. If I'm Montez Ford and I take the L there, I'm not leaving I'm not leaving on a bad note. So take that as an opportunity to go out there, call your shot, jump the champ, at least make your presence felt. Everybody's soft. Everybody's soft.
I would agree. The SmackDown roster is definitely cooked. Everyone is definitely looking like they are having a blast on Raw because they've got the new world title, which I figured would be the case. You know, now that we have these 3 world titles, 2 of which reside on SmackDown, right. Now you factor in the bloodline crumbling and the fact that nobody's going to get a title shot for the next 4 or 5 months because Jimmy and Jay have to go back and forth with Roman quite possibly for the next couple of months. So
that's why you should jump the line. No?
If we saw Montez Ford versus Roman Reigns on a random SmackDown coming up, it'd be a nice random pop, but I just would be like, we know the inevitable.
Maybe, because like we still haven't seen, I think, the best of Montez Ford. Maybe on any given night, anybody could beat anybody. Maybe Montez Ford just has a really, really good night. And again, it doesn't even have to be for the title. Just to get a shot in the ring against the champ in an eliminator match or whatever. Just to prove your mettle. Like, what are you here for? Like, Montez, you've been losing mad matches. What are you doing? What are we doing?
I think they're going heel.
What's that word? Kayfabe only.
I think they're going to start showing darker tendencies.
They need it. They need something. They need to regain some kind of an edge.
Them and Bianca are all going to come together and form an edge. I
think like Bianca's another one is like
they're on the same brand. It's only right.
Yeah, coming off of that reign where she lost, questionable circumstances, and they're probably running back with Asuka. Like there'll probably be a third, like a rubber match. I would imagine between the 2 of them. But yeah, like at least Bianca's been a champ at NXT. Been a champ on both shows, SmackDown, Raw. Montez can't say that. Call your shot, man. Call your shot. What's AJ Styles doing? You just lost to Seth Rollins. You don't see this as a perfect time to get back on the win. He was out here celebrating his birthday, watching his homies. He's out there with Gallows and Anderson.
Who are just happy to be there. Those guys are just like, yo, they're happy to be there. Devil in the distance.
Throwback. Clue.
Yeah, that might be my new entrance, actually. That
DJ Clue. Man, Heavy Components, Volume 4.
Yeah, I got an impromptu topic, actually.
Let's go.
Zoe Stark just gave an interview in regards to pretty much adding another title belt, which I thought was interesting because Raquel Rodriguez gave an interview recently saying that she would like for another belt to be added to the women's division. Zoe said, I would love nothing more than to add an Intercontinental Women's Championship. I think that would be fun to get that involved with and more opportunities for the women to be put on TV, do a lot of good for us. And that was on 10 Count with Steve Fall. I actually don't think they need an Intercontinental Championship. They have to get these tag titles just consistently over. And just a women's championship that All right, maybe if we can get the tag titles believably over, then I will advocate for a women's. What is a women's mid card title? The women's intercontinental.
Yeah,
What is the New Japan version?
it'd be an
What does New Japan
intercontinental.
do? What does New Japan do?
They only, as far as I know, like I don't watch Stardom regularly, so like that's their women's league. They don't really mix like that. They haven't really been mixing like with men and women until Mercedes came over. But as far as I know, like they only have the IWGP Women's World, and then Stardom has their belts, but I'm not familiar.
So what would it be for the women's division? And does that cross brands now?
Talking about WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they.
Because
it
they
needs
already
to
have
be
the
tag.
TBS title. They have the TBS title already. So they have one for AEW and the women's
Yeah.
championship in AEW. That's a whole other clusterfuck discussion in itself. But
Yeah.
this is a strong roster when you add up. Because AEW's women's roster is rather piss poor.
It's not though. It's just that they have 15 minutes a week. That's the problem.
It's like how much Sky Blue can we get? Like, why are we not developing Jade and just having Sky Blue bounce around for a bit?
I'm not even mad. Like right now, I'm not even mad that Jade ain't on TV because she just lost. Take a minute, let that refresh or whatever, and then when she pops back up, she'll probably be a face. She'll probably get rid of Smart Mark Sterling or whatever. Like they have between them and Ring of Honor, there are way more quality. Yeah, there's way more quality than I think they get credit for, but it's hard to give them credit because there's literally 15 minutes per show. Like even on Rampage, where there's only an hour, they still get the one segment.
And you think it's gonna get better with Collision? I would hope it gets better with Collision.
I hope. I have no way of even answering that question other than saying I hope.
We can only speculate.
You know what I'm saying? But like, I have no reason to believe that it's going to change because like they literally haven't changed the format ever outside of like a handful of times where maybe they have a special match that opens up or whatever. Like you don't even get more than one women's segment per episode.
No, I don't even remember. Tony Storm had a backstage segment this week.
Yeah.
For an eliminator
it's an eliminator tournament, but then I'm looking a match rather 4-way, but then I'm looking at who's in the joint. Everybody lost. Like Sky Blue is a perpetual loser. Mercedes Martinez hasn't been on AEW TV. She was just on Ring of Honor today, and I think she picked up a win. But all right, then we have who
Nyla Rose, who just took an L to Chris Statlander.
She just lost last week.
And then they're not giving us Britt Baker, Tony Storm for free on TV.
And Britt Baker. Yeah, Britt Baker's the only other one. So, like, you have three people, like one person that just lost, one that we haven't seen, one that always loses, and then Britt Baker. What? Like, yo, I would love for the rankings to come back.
That is legitimately, we said the whole women's division in AEW.
No, but it's not, though. Like, there's plenty.
We forgot Willow and Hikaru Shida in Rio. There's them, too. But then I think Taya.
Yeah, Taya's there. Like they're doing that stupid shit where she's standing like this, looking at the TV.
Yeah,
like,
she looks like she's about to go heel and just be upset and then take another L.
Yeah, I mean, which is fine. Like you bring somebody credible in the loop. Like everybody can't win, so I'm not mad, right? Like because if it's not somebody credible facing Chris Statlander, then the next thing that everybody's gonna be like is like, all right, well, she's out here doing the Jade shit. You know what I mean? So you gotta like line people up that have to come in. It's like, remember Shawn Michaels' first title reign?
No.
Like when he beat Bret Hart, they lined him up for basically, I don't know, maybe 6 months, 7 months.
That was when he was facing Vader, right?
He had Vader. There was Mankind. There was the British Bulldog. It was just heel, monster heel, monster heel, monster heel. Nobody thought that any of them were ever winning. I think he ended up losing to Sid. And I think even with that was like some shenanigans because I forget exactly what the circumstances was, but I'm not sure if it was completely clean or not. But you got to line like in order to, especially for your first run. It's Chris Statlander's first run. We don't even know if she could carry a title like that yet. You know what I mean? But back to
the women's division.
I guess WWE.
WWE, yes, they are fully loaded. They could get away with a mid-card title, a TV title if they wanted to, but I just feel like they need to get the tag title situated first.
Yeah, like I think there's so much potential. I mean, there's so much potential, period, for like that tag team. The tag titles feel like they're cursed in a way. Like there's always either an injury or some kind of dispute or just horrible booking. You know what I'm saying? Like, why did you make the titles if you're not going to actually put a focus on them? Why do you need two sets of tag titles also? Because don't they have tag titles in NXT?
Yes, they do.
Why? Like, you're not focusing. Like, why not have, if you're not going to have your world title or even your mid-card title being a traveling title, maybe make that traveling title the tag team titles. and pop up, do a program over in NXT, and then they win, and they pop up over on Raw. Like, make it interesting. And I would
Right.
love to see, like, from one title to the next, some kind of something that makes each title unique. Like, what's different about this title that it just, what's the difference between the Intercontinental and the US right now? Nobody knows. It's just whatever, whoever's holding it. You know
Just
what I'm
the
saying?
names.
Yeah, so it could be cool. It could work, but a lot of things could work theoretically.
This actually could bring into my next topic before we do our show rundown. You know what I'm saying? Since we just, you know what I mean, 2-man boot tonight.
Yes, sir.
I would say dominant heel champions. I like the fact that the tag titles for the women's division are on Ronda and Shayna actually right now. Like, I really enjoy that because
As do I.
they should have a year-long reign. They shouldn't even come close to losing those belts. They should just bulldoze over everybody to the point where they're going to NXT like, yo, we're going to bulldoze over you, dude. And then come back and just keep bulldozing over people. The same way Gunther's having his reign. Theory. I like the Triple H regime of the heels having dominant reigns. Like, I'm actually fine with that because it gives us a story. Gives us a motherfucking story.
But you could do it the same way. Like, imagine, for instance, and we'll get back to the hill, right? But imagine Cody wins at Mania. So many people were like, where does Cody go after this? Why couldn't Cody have a similar run to what Orange Cassidy is doing right now? Well, he's fighting monster, and each time he's scraping by and it's getting worse and worse, and sooner or later he's going to run out of steam. Wants to be a fighting champion, but he's being worn down. That's the story.
I think with Cody, since we've seen things play out since Mania now with the Brock three-peat on the way, looming Dominic Mysterio match at Money in the Bank, I feel like they are doing a really good job right now of making us believe in Cody that he can hold a title and make us care about him without a title, which is like, you know what? Since y'all are playing the long game, fine.
No, I'm cool with
fine.
that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I was just using like that as an argument of saying, like, as a champion, there's just so many different ways that you can book heels and book baby faces to make that shit interesting without it kind of being played out.
I guess I was just going off of like just no predictions, just like off of the current landscape right now of like no shoulda, coulda, wouldas, like no fantasy booking, just more of like this is where it's at right now. That it's like I'm fine with Cody and Brock being a big deal and having no title over it because when there is a title for it, we're gonna be like, wow, this feud fucking rocked last year. Damn, they're doing it again, and now they got a title over it. Okay, now I feel like Cody could be in trouble here. He might lose that shit to Brock. As opposed to we just got it out the way now at Money in the Bank, or we got it out the way at fucking Backlash just because Cody Brock at Backlash for the world title didn't even need to happen. And now I'm understanding, and I'm not even gonna bark on the dirt sheets. I'm just like, yo, y'all got it, yo. Creative got it. I'm rocking. I'm sold. Adrenaline in my soul. Pause.
I mean, I love to see what happens when this Brock feud is done, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, once the third match is out ahead, and what do we do? Because, like, if he goes the Money in the Bank route, then that's what that is. But if he doesn't, who's next? What's lined up for Cody after that? That's going to keep him fresh for the next 9 months until we get back, or 6 months, 7 months, 5 months until we get back to Mania season, at least the Rumble.
We got Cody Seth 4 probably looming at some point over the fall.
I don't ever want to see Cody try to challenge for that world title.
We're going to see that again, brother.
No. I'd love to see the match. I don't want to see Cody challenge for that world title. That goes against his character to me. Right? The one reason that brought you back to WWE is to get the title your pops never had. Seth ain't holding that. Roman's holding that. So I don't even want to see him, and like I don't want to see him want that title.
If Cody won that title just like out the blue and then lost it in a 4-way, 3-way match, and then he gets to Roman, I don't think I'd even suffice with that. You're right. I'd just be like, yo, I don't even want to see this.
It'd be whack because, like, think about it this way. Imagine he beats Cody, right? And then he's like, all right, cool, but I still want that one. Then the one that you're holding, you're saying that it means less. Like, they've done everything to tell us. They've done everything to tell us that this title is not as important. You know
Cody would be the type to beat that offset. Pause. Cody would be the type to take that offset. He would take that type pause. Crazy pause. Cody would win the belt off of Seth. And then he would defend it with honor throughout the fall and then just pass it up at the Royal Rumble. Like, I'm going to hand this off to someone so I can enter the chance to win the Royal Rumble and face Roman Reigns to win the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
The undisputed. Like Cody wouldn't even lose the belt. He would just be like, I'm going to forfeit this belt so I can face Roman Reigns. The opportunity to face Roman Reigns.
Then he
What?
light his feet on fire in front of the people.
And then the crowd would go, "Whoa!"
No, but
Right.
Mad Hill champions right now.
Yo, I'm here for it. MJF.
Athena.
You know what I'm saying?
Athena is
This guy said Athena.
Athena is the best women's wrestler going right now, bro.
Damn, son. Somebody got to watch that, yo. Somebody got to watch that on Ring of Honor, man. We got to tap in more. We got to have more Ring of Honor conversation at some point in the times that we record these
Got
shows.
to. I mean, they got a pay-per-view coming up next month, so
Newark, right?
there'll be some, Newark. Yeah,
We should go, yo.
I was thinking about it too.
go.
Tickets go on sale tomorrow, so check them out.
We could probably get some good ass seats. Oh, it's tomorrow. Yeah, we could probably get some good ass seats, especially because it's Ring of Honor. They'll just be like, "Yo, y'all want to just, yeah, man, please, just come through, hold it down."
Athena's a heel champ. Who's the world champion? And Claudio. Claudio's a heel champ over in Ring of Honor right now. Samoa Joe is a heel champ, TV champ. MJF, Tony Storm.
Tony Storm.
Are there any face champs right now in
Steve
WWE?
Pockets and FTR.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I mean, FTR's heel until they leave Chicago.
Yeah. Who else is there? Steve Macklin and Impact, Trey Miguel, X Division Championship, Deonna Purrazzo, Women's Knockouts Champion, fucking Tyrus for NWA.
Yeah.
Okada, New Japan, like who else?
No. He's not.
Not Okada. Sonata.
But I'm not sure if he's face or heel. I think he's supposed to be a face. It ain't really clicking. I think it's more so that right now.
And what's his face? Who's in GCW? Who's the world champion in GCW? Blake Christian. No, Blake Christian is a face, I believe.
Word.
All right. Yeah. Dominant Hill champions.
Going down some AEW.
You want to do Raw or you want to just go to AEW?
I didn't even see it. What happened on Raw?
Shit. I guess fuck it. Let's go to AEW then, because I gotta pull up the whole Raw rundown, Raw highlights. I mean, if I pull it up first.
Oh, I saw the Cody and Damian Priest.
That was really good.
That was a good match. And
that's the new
Walter.
That's the feud that I want to see now.
Gunther. The Gunther match.
And Kevin Owens Rock. That was a really good match. That's what you show people how to. That's what you show people. Yeah. Like yo.
Popping. Talking about dominant Hill champions, Gunther is the man right now. Gunther's the top champion. You know, he could be up there neck and neck with Roman as far as like dominant champions right now.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like he's gonna have one of those, couple of year reigns.
That's
the
what
same
I like
way he's
about
been doing the UK champ too. He was the NXT UK champ for a couple of years.
I like the fact that they just like get you comfortable, man. I'm comfortable with it. I like the villain, so it's like I'm comfortable with them just having like these extensive title reigns. Back in the day, as a kid, the kids are probably sick of this shit. But as an adult, I'm like, nah. Great matches. Keep this shit going.
Yeah, because like I wanna be able to like fucking root against somebody. You know what I'm saying? And like Gunther, you root against him because of the character or whatever, but the matches he's putting on are all time. He's an all time like great. As Walter
100%.
Or as Gunther. You know what I'm saying? He's put on some of the best matches that I've ever seen. And realistic. And it's cool because it's a different style of playing a heel. You know what I'm saying? Like I like when heels aren't just a cowardly heel or heels aren't just a heel that cheats or, whatever.
Yeah,
Gunther's coming out as like, no. Gunther is a heel because he's arrogant about his skill. He thinks that everything should be, recreated in his image. You know what I'm saying? The same thing that the Blackpool Combat Club does in a way. You know what I'm saying? Or at least like Bryan Danielson, when he's talking, it's like, we're going to do whatever we got. It's like hypocritical in a way because he will cheat or he will, pull some underhanded tactics.
Yeah.
But it's basically saying like, yo, you should follow exactly what I'm telling you to do because I'm better than you. I want to recreate wrestling in my image, that kind of shit. So, but yeah.
Sacred.
Yeah, the ring is sacred. El ring general.
All right, so I do have the Raw results pulled up. We opened Raw with Seth Rollins and Damian Priest. I like the fact that Damian Priest called his shot and said, I want a world title match. He got that match later on. Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, both of them facing each other, brings back memories to that beautiful undisputed, that universal championship match that they had
Round
at
one.
SummerSlam 2016, round one. And then the continued matches that they would have for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania and various other times over the course of them being on the same brands, heel, face, whoever's heel, whoever's face. I'm looking forward to that feud. That's a feud that I feel like if Finn actually won that, though, I wouldn't even be mad, actually. You know what I'm saying? If he did win the world title
sure.
off Seth, here's my thing with this new world heavyweight title. It is a workhorse. It's a tough guy championship. It's needed because the roster's loaded, but I also want surprise with that title. I don't want that particular title to have the Roman treatment. I don't want Seth to go on a 2-year long reign of just beating everybody again, because then it's like, yo, we just made a title to give to Seth Rollins to beat everyone for 2 years.
Right.
So I would hope that over the course of Finn and Seth maybe going back and forth for the summer, Finn Balor beats Seth Rollins and wins that title, because really Judgment Day with the world title would be ridiculous, and they are putting themselves in good standings to have those type of things happen with the women's championship, maybe a tag title run, who knows. But
here's the interesting thing with Judgment Day. We've been seeing how there's this budding friction right now between Damian Priest and Finn Balor.
yes,
Like during that segment, it's like, nah, we'll come out with you. He's like, nah, I don't need you. And Finn looks over while Damian's still. So there's something there. They're planting the seeds for one of the two of them.
I don't even want that yet, man. It's like, this sucks. Like, why would y'all do this? Don't do this to us yet. Yeah, I finally got us to a point where we actually genuinely like the Judgment Day.
Like the Judgment Day.
Y'all are like, damn, here we go.
Yeah. And like, look at what we're getting. We're getting like all-time heel Dom. We're getting an amazing character with Rhea.
Some of the best booing that I've seen in television, honestly, these past couple of weeks with Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
Top of the line. Becky Lynch defeated Sonya Deville. Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark try to interrupt. I like the pairing of Trish Stratus and Zoe Starks. I think this is really good. I feel like they kind of look like they work together. You know what I'm saying? They similar stature and look. But
it's a nice pairing of a veteran,
good mentor,
putting the youngin, the young girl on, And Zoe Stark was one of those being not too familiar with the NXT roster when we were talking about it a couple of months ago, but she was somebody like 2 minutes. I think it was in the Rumble or that she was in this year. I'm like, yo, whoever she is, she's kind of dope, and a lot of people
felt because she didn't win the NXT Women's Championship that she would be cooked, but. That's just a case where it's like they actually have bigger plans for you than just having you win a title. It just wasn't your time. And when it comes to situations like that, like a Cameron Grimes or other people, like, what do you feel like it'd be a lot of the times? You know what I mean? Like, what's your take on it? Because sometimes, and we could probably deep dive on this topic. Like,
the title should never make the wrestler. The wrestler should make the title. So if you go through whatever system and you don't have a run with a particular title, especially knowing what we know about NXT is supposed to be developmental, then that's not a loss. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't need it. I think somebody like Cameron Grimes, for instance, has such a highly developed character. You know what I mean? And a good. He just has. There's no downside, I think, to his game. You know what I'm saying? He can do comedic. He can be serious. He can wrestle multiple types of styles, different size wrestlers against. You know what I'm saying? So him not having a real like a world title run or whatever doesn't diminish his name at all. You know what I mean? The same thing with Zoe Stark. Like, we see that she's paired up with Trish. I don't see a reason, at least yet, that's not going to be a good thing for
her. Okay. All right. So we got our next segment. Gunther defeated Kevin Owens in a match that I would show anybody that doesn't watch wrestling. I'd be like, you should start here.
Hell of a match.
This looks like it hurts.
Yeah, hell of a match. There was a couple of slams, these power bombs that Gunther lays in. Like, Kevin Owens takes, like, I don't know how he does it. Like, for some of the bumps that he's taken, that I've seen him take, the fact that he's not really had, like, he's not seriously injured all the time. He doesn't walk around the way that. Yeah, like, think about how, like, when Mick Foley retired, he was in his mid-30s. He wasn't even 40 years old. And look at the way that he was walking and wobbling. And I'm not saying that they've had similar careers, but I'm just saying the types of bumps that I've seen Kevin Owens take, some of the shit on the indies, even some of the things that, moves that you don't even use anymore in WWE. You know?
I mean, right now, I really am more curious about what's going to happen with these tag titles on both brands. It seems like they're mostly focused on Raw, but there's the elephant in the room that nobody addresses is what do we do with the other brand? Like what's happening with SmackDown? Do SmackDown tag teams get tag title shots? Do the Street Profits just have to keep losing to random bedfellow tag teams? Pause. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how this works, and nobody's addressing it. It's kind of pissing me off a little bit.
I thought, and I don't know why I thought this. Like the brand splits just never work, right? You have,
forgot to even talk about that one. I know we talked about it in the chat. I was shooting the joke.
Brand splits never work, right? And there's so many things that they've done that it's like, I don't know, what was the point in a brand split if you weren't going to take the titles that the champions are on Raw, take the SmackDown title. Yeah, take this. Like, what's the point in the Undisputed Championship if tag teams on SmackDown are exclusive to SmackDown? What are they doing? You know what I'm saying?
Which begs the question: do they create new tag team titles, or are we going to be eating our words in a couple weeks? Where it's
it is so simple. Just either have them be floating champions, where they go show to show and defend it, like I just mentioned with what the women's tag title should be, or take the blue belts away from them. Make it vacant, and it wouldn't hurt because they're baby faces. So they could say it's the honorable thing for the love of pro wrestling. We want to relinquish these titles so they have something to compete for over there. And we're done. That's an honorable thing that you can see two baby faces do. But they're not going to do it.
I think we're just going to be stuck with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn steamrolling through Imperium without Gunther. Gunther steamrolling through Riddle. And Riddle bringing back Randy Orton to knock out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at SummerSlam.
Who do you think actually beats Walter? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a tough one. And first of all, like, we don't even know how far out they're planning on him holding that title, but I don't see his reign ending anytime soon. And there's no reason for it. But it's just like,
that's tough.
Lining them up. Like, who's a competitor that is like, oh, I can see that. I can't.
It has to be somebody that he hasn't beaten already.
Yeah, I'd have to. And it was kind of that same thing with Roman. Like, I have to see who. I got to go back and look at some of these matches.
Brock and Gunther, because Brock's never been Intercontinental Champion.
Nah, Brock ain't fighting for that title.
Yeah, you never know.
It would be dope.
You never know. You never know. Brock could just be the one to be like, "Oh yeah, you beating everybody. Well, I want that now."
Hey, I'd love to see it. I just don't think that WWE is going to do something that's out of the box for them to have Brock in anything other than a world title feud.
But it would still sell. I think if anything, that would put mad eyes on the Intercontinental. Like, people would be like, "Oh, Brock challenging for Gunther? Oh, yeah. Nah, is that main eventing this shit? Actually,
it'd be a dope story to tell because like the Intercontinental title could be secondary in a sense. It could be Brock.
That's how I feel too. He's just like, I just want to beat you up.
Yeah,
if I win the title, I win the title.
It could be like, yo, people have been saying that we should have this match for years, and you're supposed to be some kind of tough guy. I'm gonna bust your ass and I'm gonna take your belt. Then I'm gonna relinquish it. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to
show up. Yeah. I'm gonna just come through. I'm gonna beat you, and I'm just gonna do my Brock Lesnar schedule.
Right.
And when I show up to just knock you down again during your rematch, I'm just gonna keep the Intercontinental title away from me. And now, how y'all feel about Roman? Get ready to feel about it with the Intercontinental title. And now you have a reason to go after the World Heavyweight title because Brock Lesnar is holding the Intercontinental title hostage.
That would be something.
Hell of a story. But we are continuing on with the rest of Raw. Let's see here. We have our next match being, all right, as soon as this loads, next match up is Ronda Rousey and Sonya Deville defeating Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, which I did like their pre-package pause. I like their pre-promo. I think that really Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, they got a chance. They really do. I like them in NXT. They're exciting. They've got team unity. They've been together for years. They're former champions. They fake can be healed. They're really likable baby faces. Don't know how far they'll go with baby faces, but they gave fire to Ronda and Shayna and kind of made it believable. You know what I'm saying? So they did the thing, and I hope Ronda and Shayna continue to hold the titles for the rest of the year and have a Gunther level run tag titles. They need credibility. They need the credibility that Sasha and Bayley put on them during the pandemic. So let's keep Ronda Rousey happy and keep Shayna Baszler in the spotlight.
And it would be it's not hard to book them. Like they both have the backgrounds that they have.
Their matches are actually fun to watch because
Yeah,
they actually can kick your ass, and I like watching them do that.
exactly. So, and this is the best that we've gotten from Ronda Rousey in a little bit.
She looks
You know,
genuinely happy to be here. And the fact that she's putting this much emphasis on a tag title and not the
love it.
women's championship, I'm like, all right, I'm here for it. I like that.
Yep.
All right. So next, Ricochet defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. Pretty much Bronson Reed crashed this and hit him with the tsunami on Ricochet. This Money in the Bank is heating up. I feel like LA Knight is going to be a dark horse in this motherfucker. I think he's got this one, or a white horse, depending on who's watching on Dr. Umar's side of things. I think LA Knight could be the one that takes his Money in the Bank, man. I've been calling it, and people are feeling like it. So this match is going to be exciting, though. For one of the Money in the Bank matches, like this is going to be one of the more exciting ones in recent years. And I think just off Ricochet alone is going to be mad fun.
I really wish that Bronson Reed won that triple threat match with Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory, because
Okay.
him as the U.S. champion, like I think since then he's come out and he has a little segment and he might attack somebody or win a match or whatever, but just that momentum, I thought he had a lot of momentum, right? I thought like his promos, he just looked like a big deal, looked like an important person who should be a monster, not a world title guy, but a mid-level guy that should have a dominant reign. Maybe it's like kind of spamming because we already have a couple of dominant big guy champions with Roman and Gunther. But now looking at, you have this great promo, you look tough, you have a hell of a finishing maneuver, like your moveset is pretty dope. There were no flaws in his game, I thought. Unique look, because he didn't look like anybody else in WWE right now. And what is he doing now? You know what I mean? Like I thought that was like a missed opportunity just to keep the momentum rolling. And he was the guy that ate the pin. Like it should have been Austin Theory. Bobby was going to SmackDown anyway. This was right before the draft. And it just, but whatever. I'm on this side.
Miz TV featuring Cody Rhodes. The Miz was great in the segment, and you could tell just from him mocking Cody during the song and all that he was going to eat a cast to the face. Cody continues to be the best babyface in the business, quite possibly. Crowd reaction is just insane. You know what I mean? It's undeniable. This guy doesn't need a title belt, and they've made us believe that. He's dashing tonight in his usual spiel. Interrupted.
Cody is Cody. I'm still trying to figure out why he wasn't disqualified for using the cast against Brock Lesnar, but whatever.
Hey man, these things don't even matter.
Rules. Yeah. Refs are cooked.
Yo, he had the cast on him. You know what I mean? It was a part of his arsenal. It was like it counted like a punch. Pretty much the segment got sandbagged by Dominic Mysterio and the women's champion of SmackDown, but she's on Raw, Rhea Ripley.
Heat. Yeah. Brand split, right?
Yeah, brand split.
Yo, did you hear that? You hear that Jeff Jarrett's trying to trademark heat for pro wrestling?
Yeah,
trying to trademark the word heat.
How's that going?
I don't know. I just saw it like earlier today.
That's funny. Double J. Dominic and his reactions are very enjoyable. Let me tell you. Definitely him and Don Callis. Somebody tweeted that off our page, was like him and Don Callis should be together.
Hey, that was me. Like, just imagine, like I wouldn't even have them talk. Like the amount of heat.
It would just sound like melting lava. It would just be like, it would just be so. It would be annoyingly bad and good at the same time. Be like, yo, this is painful, but it's so loud.
But it's good.
But it's good though. But it's really good. I think we're getting Dominic Mysterio and Cody Rhodes at Money in the Bank, and I'm here for that.
For sure. Okay. So yeah, I was trying to figure out earlier, like what happens, what direction Cody goes once this Brock stuff is done, and if he doesn't win Money in the, because is he in Money in the Bank?
He's not in Money in the Bank. He's going to face Dominic Mysterio. I feel like chances are he's going to face Dominic, and that's where Brock cost him the match to set up the third at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Because that was the setup for this. Because they're going to have a match at some point. But the thing is, though, we've got so much time until Money in the Bank is what, July 2nd? Just early July. So we've got a couple weeks. So they could prolong this out. But I think we get Cody Dominic at Money in the Bank, which is actually going to be really good because that's like a great placement of super babyface and super heel.
Yeah, that dynamic is perfect. Yeah. Like your most over heel is Dominic. and your most over face is Cody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with that. Zoe Stark defeated Natalia. Poor Natalia. Natty don't ever get a win, man. She really is the gatekeeper. Her and Dana Brooke got to form a tag team and go after the tag titles and
Hey,
try to defeat Shayna
I'm
and
not saying
Ronda.
poor Natalia because job security is an amazing thing.
Well, absolutely,
You know what
absolutely,
I'm saying? She plays her role.
absolutely, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Much salute to her and her job. I just mean kayfabe wise, poor Natalia.
Well, get better. Fuck. By this point, if you ain't
Kayfabe
win,
wise, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
if you ain't winning matches, you need to go back to the lab.
It was wild. Indus Shear mauled Cedric Alexander to a T. Just beat him up. Didn't even get him in the ring. I like those guys. Those are my sleeper picks for tag teams this year. It's going to be Indus Shear. I like them in NXT. I think they are going to do damage this year if they get a chance to compete for the tag titles. And with Jinder Mahal as their manager, they at least got a mouthpiece to speak for them.
Mm-hmm.
Main event: Seth Rollins, Damian Priest. This was billed as one of the biggest matches in Raw history, which I think was
Might have been, yeah,
cap.
might be Cap, but like I think they were also saying like there hasn't been a world title match on Raw for a couple of years or
Which
something like
I
that.
will give them that. Which I think
Yeah.
has been quite some time because the title pretty much left in 2013. So
No, not
this,
even a world title. I mean, just a world title defense because Roman hasn't defended that. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even show up to Raw.
that is true.
So it's been a couple of years that there's even been a world title, you know, in play.
Defended, yeah, and
Yeah.
play on Raw. So yeah, I get that. I definitely get that. So that match was pretty solid. Damian Priest did his best to make us believe that he could win. And if this was 6 months down the line with some credible build, homie could have had a shot. But Seth needed a W, and Finn ended up coming through at the end of the match, tear him the face off, and it looks like we're going Finn Seth. One of my takeaways for this match was the barricade bomb, which looked like it hurt. That shit
Yep.
looked like it hurt. You know what I mean? That's what took Finn Balor out at SummerSlam 2016, and Damian Priest looked like he ate that shit up. Pause. So that is the Raw recap. Ayo, how you feeling
Word up.
about that? How you feeling about that?
It was cool. It was cool. Like
Cool
I
Raw.
I tapped in. Raw is just tough because it's 3 hours. You know, Raw is just really really tough because it's 3 hours.
The
But
show for Cody, Seth, and a few of the interchangeables,
yeah,
and then it's like,
but there was some good. I mean, again, like that Walter Kevin Owens match was worth watching. That Seth and Damian Priest, like Damian Priest came out more valuable than he went into that match. You know, this was a
right,
good Raw for him. Think about the trust that WWE's putting into him because like
for
he's the
sure.
guy that had that match with Bad Bunny, for instance.
That's a fact.
So you don't put somebody you don't trust in there with the multi-million-dollar celebrity guests,
That's
and
true.
he held it down. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of promise I think with Damian Priest, and this was just another example of like, okay, we can trust him with the world champion. You know, we can trust him to do what he's supposed to do to make Seth keep Seth looking good or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I think all in all, like it was a solid episode from those fronts. And we'll see. Like we're moving forward with getting into Money in the Bank season. We'll see what these other qualifying matches look like and whatever the final field looks like. But it was cool. You know,
Fuck with it.
it was
Fuck with
cool.
it. All right.
Dynamite.
AEW time. Getting the dynamite.
Dynamite last night. AEW Dynamite. So the card going into Dynamite, there was the Blackpool Combat Club versus Chaos, Ricky Starks versus Jay White, Chris Statlander versus Anna JAS. We'll hear from MJF, Jack Perry and Hook versus Preston Vance and Dralistico in a Texas Tornado match, and Orange Cassidy defending that title, the international title against Swerve Strickland. So speaking of that match, that's what opened up the night. Orange Cassidy against Swerve Strickland. He came down there with Prince Nana, and they put on a banger. Like there's little things that when I watch Swerve, it's like, damn, wish you would tighten maybe that up or that up. But all in all, outside of like being nitpicky about a couple of things, like Swerve, first of all, you could tell he's gotten bigger. He's been putting on some
Yeah,
some,
definitely.
some muscle mass. You know what I'm saying? So from that sense, he's looking like, all right, I'm title ready now. You know what I'm saying? So. And this looked like it basically picked up from the end of the Battle Royal from the pay-per-view a couple weeks ago. You know, they had amazing chemistry in those couple of minutes to end that Battle Royal off. and this looked good as well. You know what I mean? It was a fun match. There were a couple of moments that, once Swerve hit the kick and then he hit his double stomp off the top rope. I'm like, oh shit.
A lot of near falls.
And then Orange Cassidy kicked out. So, but I think this is obviously not over. It was the double roll. It was the roll up. Swerve grabs the trunks, over rolls, and then Orange Cassidy holds the trunks and he gets the pin. So this isn't over. Like, we got Sting and Darby come out to make the save after the Mogul Embassy jump in, but this ain't over.
I love the fact that Orange Cassidy's character now cares about something because he wants to retain. Yep. And he's doing a damn good job to the point where, like, I really don't want to see anyone take the belt off him. Tonight could have been, or last night could have been that night. Swerve could have been that guy, and people were saying, yo, Swerve could do it, but I'm not betting against OC, man. Pocket's got it, yo. I'm not doubting.
It's a great run. It's a great, he's having, what was that, his 24th defense or something like that, 23rd.
He's looking
24th.
Fatigued, man. He's looking tired every which way.
And that's the other thing is, like, when he finally loses, each week he comes out, like we was talking before we went on the air about how there's more tape that's added and there's more injuries, and the selling of the hand is so good. You know what I mean? Because he'll grab for a pin and that hurts. So I can't really make a real cover because I can't use his hand because it hurts. Like, little small details like that are so good. Like, the attention to detail. Like, he's just doing an amazing job. And again, like, Orange Cassidy being on the top of so many, quote unquote lists of, like, who's MVPs for 2023. Nobody thought that was going to be the case in 2022. So for somebody to raise their stock, we talk about, like, year end, who came up the most this year? Orange Cassidy, at least for the first half of 2023, is doing it.
That guy's on fire right now. You know what I'm saying? We'll never get Swerve Keithley one-on-one. Probably won't happen anytime. I think they purposely made us forget about that, actually.
I don't understand what happened. Lose the point. I don't get it.
And then we also have Sting in Swerve, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Like, we all know that, like, Sting is also made it clear that this is his last year. So cherish these little matchups and moments because it ain't happening after.
All this means is we're just gonna get more Brian Cage doing this with a stupid haircut on his head. So
I like Brian Cage in this role, though. You know what I mean? He doesn't do too much. We don't see too much from him. He's part of a 6-man trio tag team, and he's really the muscle for the embassy. Don't really need much more than that.
Got rid of those two Yakubian guys. Got them the fuck out of here.
Hey,
Jack Harper Piper, whatever the fuck, pause. Whatever his name is, Harlow Boudreaux, Boogie's man, and dude tatted up Jeff Hardy. Face tat Jeff Hardy was crazy. That was wild.
That was just not the move.
I love how they just
they popped up, when Swerve popped up with fake Brock the first time.
Yeah, that was wild.
It's like, bro, what? What are we doing here?
That was wild. They got them the fuck out of here. And I think Parker Boudreaux, if you're watching this, bro, I'm sorry, but I don't think you gotta be. It's got to be a sign that this just ain't it, man. Gotta be a sign.
I think people just got so enamored that he looked like Brock, and maybe he got caught up in the hype.
My man Greg Oden himself. This guy just, you know what I'm saying? Man, Brandon Roy.
You just never should have been on TV. Like, you need to be in the lab. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to actually be in the lab. And you clearly weren't in the lab long enough. So that's why.
You want to be in the lab with all the rappers. That's the lab I feel like he'd be in. He'd be hanging out with a lot of rappers.
Probably sucked there too. You know what I mean? What are we talking about?
Man, who knows? So,
Bryan Danielson came out, the American Dragon. Bryan Danielson, fresh off of challenging Kazuchika Okada for that match at Forbidden Door. He comes out, he's on commentary. For people that say that, like, Bryan can't cut promos or he's not good on the mic or doesn't have quotables, bro, he's amazing. Like, I saw you
do an hour of commentary on Collision and then just beat people up for the other half of it. And I think that'll do ratings for the people that fuck with Bryan Danielson.
Like, for instance, when you got Wheeler Yuta in the ring and he's hitting those hammering those elbows.
Yes.
And he's just yelling, elbow, 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 rear naked choke, like at the top of his, like, he's amazing. He's amazing.
He's having a blast right now.
Yeah. Just, like, think about that commentary team of Tony Schiavone, who's like everybody's uncle. Then you have Taz, who's down, he's breaking down the smallest of details. Excalibur knows the name. Yeah, yo. It was so much fun. So much fun. But there was a trios match. They ran the the video just to make sure that we know that this Forbidden Door match is coming up. And again, like
that looked
dream
epic.
match.
I couldn't believe. I was like,
dream,
oh, God, it's gonna be
dream match.
gonna
Just
be
when you
so
see
good.
those two the lineup with just 2 matches announced, it's like you can do whatever you want to do. This could
Yeah.
this can literally just be like, I don't know. This could be a
This could be a
2-match pay-per-view.
four match pay per view, and like everyone's gonna be like, yo, they have them both the matches are going after.
Worth the 50. Worth the 50. Blackpool Combat Club trios match. Mox, Claudio Castagnoli, fresh off that trip to Japan, and of course Wheeler Yuta against Chaos, which again, if we're talking about storytelling, Chaos is Okada's crew. They were just having matches over in New Japan. Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Rocky Romero. Rocky Romero and I think it was Beretta or Roppongi Vice when they were tag team in Japan. So
Rocky Romero is like 1-23 with his victories and losses right now.
Yo, somebody got to lose. Somebody got to lose. But is Rocky really on the plug Romero? Because he's the one that does all the American business for New Japan runs through Rocky Romero. So
yeah, that's for sure.
He'll take the pin. Fuck it. Fuck it. But this was a cool match. Nice little trios match.
Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, Blackpool Combat Club. Like, and again, talking about different styles of heels. They are heels because they go overboard, right? Like you can root for them or against them. They don't really care too tough, but they're gonna win by any means necessary. And you see after the bell, after the pin, Willie Yuta is still hitting those elbows, and Bryan Danielson is justifying it. They attacked us. Baby faces don't do that. So this is why they're really, really good in their heel role. You know,
I agree. I definitely agree.
Backstage, Hung Bucks, pause. Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks. They cut it.
Man, crazy. Hung Bucks was crazy. I couldn't even believe they said that shit on television. I was like, whoa.
Yo, they've been saying that's been their name for a minute.
Yeah, you don't see them together often. So it's like when you hear it in 2023, you're like, yo, fam, what is going on here?
What are we talking about? They're backstage and they're challenging the Blackpool Combat Club, and this is happening next week. I'm glad
the name doesn't say Hung Bucks on the
not yet.
Hung Bucks is crazy.
They're gonna do it.
Yeah, that's insane, yo. Heavy pause.
They're gonna do it. And then Danielson, he's on the microphone. He's like, "When do we not accept the challenge?" Of course. So they're running that trios match: Young Bucks, Hangman Page against the Blackpool Combat Club next week on Dynamite. Cool. I'm with the shit.
I'm with it. I'm with the chaos. Bring it on.
Moving along, there was the video package mentioning the Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Pardon me. This is part 2. This is still my match of the year. This happened at Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year, and to date, I don't think I've seen anything that's been better than that. So I can only imagine what they have in store. Yeah, they're gonna turn up. And the interesting thing here is like, for starters, where there's smoke, there's Ospreay. I'm fully blaming these wildfires in Canada on Will Ospreay. He declared war on Canada. He said, "Nah, I had a clip. Maybe I'll bring it for next week." But he's like, Kenny Omega is an asshole. Don Callis, asshole. Bret Hart whines about everything. What's good about Canada? Like, he just went off. You know what I mean?
That was good.
But that sets the tone for the kind of environment that he's walking into. Clearly, he's going to be the heel on that night. But the story here,
people are still be like, "Yo, it's Will Ospreay. We can't even really fucking hate this guy."
I mean, maybe he'll get the initial pop, but once that match goes, Kenny Omega's the hometown boy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But again, I don't know. It's in Toronto, so it's a major city. It's a big event. There'll be a bunch of people from out of town, so we'll see. 10,000 people or so. I think it's already sold out.
I'm a Will Ospreay guy as much as I'm a Kenny Omega guy, so it's like I'd be like, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega. I would just
I'm cheering for both.
I'm just cheering for both. So it's like that's what I'm saying. It might be tough, bro.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay for the cult, Kenny Omega for the venue, for the, you know what I'm saying, for the location.
But like the story here is also like Ospreay has a shoulder injury, right? So maybe that's a body part that Kenny Omega focuses on. But he's more than anything desperate to get his win back. He feels not only did he lose, he was embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? He was embarrassed in front of his family, in front of, you know.
Now he's gonna do the same.
Yeah. So like that's one of his big hurdles is to finally get over that hump of beating Kenny Omega. Been compared to this guy over the last couple of years for being the best in the world. But can you beat him? We shall see.
That's true. We're gonna find out.
All right, MJF Adam Cole. MJF pulled his promo blueprint out, shall we say. This
is
pretty
all.
much was no for start. First of all,
But it was really good though.
no. Check this out. What's the story? This is dead simple, right? The world champion walks out, and then the guy that just beat the first world champion twice walks out without Adam Cole having to say anything. Clearly, we know he's there to challenge. That's the story. People are fucking dumb, right?
I'm here for that though, which is
Of
like,
course,
thank
this
you. That's
is
very simple.
wrestling. It's a
Very
combat
simple.
sport.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? But
No number one contender, eliminator. Well, we'll get to the eliminator.
yeah,
but no
we
number
can
one
do that. I'm
contender.
just saying, there's different ways to get. You know what I mean? Like we
It's not clear confusion of it's going to be a 4-way match or it's going to be a blood feud. It's like, no, I just genuinely want to beat you up and take the world title right now. It's my time.
But then it
My
gets
time.
personal once they start talking.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because MJF is an asshole. I just think, like, first of all, I think this went a little long. You know, they could have cut maybe 2-3 minutes off of this segment. In general, I thought like Adam Cole looks way better than he did the last couple of weeks. His whole feud with Jericho, like he had
It's
that
the
look
AEW
again, of
holding
looking like a star.
The holding pattern. That's how Tony Khan does it, man. It's finally time to put the reins on, Adam Cole to let him go free.
Yeah, no, because I also
gotta get out of the holding pattern.
I'd push back on the holding pattern only because like he can't come back from not wrestling for 9 months and just get back into a feud for a title. You know what I mean? So
really weird because it's like you want to cheer Adam Cole, you know him as a vicious heel, and I feel like the crowd doesn't treat him like the big baby face a lot of the time. And I don't want it to be Adam Cole before it's too late. So I think this feud was needed. He needed this feud with MJF more than MJF needs this feud with him.
Yeah, and like MJF is gonna do what MJF does. It's just presented a little bit different. Maybe Adam Cole comes out and he calls him out and he's like, "The fuck are you calling me for?" You know what I mean? Like there's different ways you could do it. This was literally the CM Punk MJF promo the first time they had that. So it's like let's just but other than that, like cool, I'm here for it. And that's that. Basically, the story here is like once they started talking shit, Adam Cole goaded MJF and then getting over emotional and saying, "All right, cool, I'll give you a match anytime, anywhere. I'll beat you." And then Adam Cole's like, "All right, bet. This is cool. This is what I wanted."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? MJF is known as the guy who's not going to wrestle because he doesn't have to, but he goaded him in that shit. And that is also happening next week on Dynamite. So we got the Eliminator, Adam Cole versus MJF. We got the trios match.
Finish on the way. Wacky finish on the way.
How you think it's ending?
I think Jericho's going to cost Adam Cole this match, and that's going to prolong us and give us Jericho Adam Cole again for the rest of the summer, and that buys time on MJF not having to face Adam Cole until possibly Wembley or All Out, or this brings us to MJF facing Adam Cole sooner and not at All Out or All In.
I think that Adam Cole wins, but it doesn't necessarily have to be by pinfall. It could be, but it could still be like JAS interferes because Jericho's just not done with him, but they cost MJF the match by disqualification. So therefore, Adam Cole is still the number one contender.
Okay.
But I'm going to go handle this before I get back to you. Kind of thing. So there's a couple of ways that you can get around that shit. But it's interesting. I think it's cool because I really don't know. Like, this is not the easiest thing to predict, I think. I don't know what's going to happen.
Agreed.
The Hardys, I don't even give a fuck about this. Texas Tornado match, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Hook, the FTW champion.
Yo, for the sake of this Matt Hardy mention, I hate Matt Hardy's gimmick of taking people's contracts and forcing them to just be a partner of his because it's ridiculous right now. It's like, give the Hardys something credible to do or get them out of here.
I think that you don't really need to. I don't think they need to be on TV like that weekly at all. Like the Hardys are here for the pop at this point. Yes. They don't need a run. They don't need to win the championships. They just need to be like the tag team that comes out for All In or All Out in front of a huge ass crowd to get that pop and gives a good 14-minute match with FTR. And we're like, cool, like
This is their part of AEW where they're on their mentor-mentee thing, and it's like, but who are y'all really looking over? Like Isaiah Cassidy is like just happy to be here till Mark Quinn comes back, and Ethan Page should probably be kicking himself because Josh Alexander is going to come back from a torn tricep or whatever he tore and probably lap his whole AEW career again in Impact for another year. So it's
Yeah.
like I look at Ethan Page like, what the fuck, bro? Like you
Yeah,
had
Ethan Page is
he's prepped actually. I might have to walk this. I might have to walk the Ricky Stark shit and just put Ethan Page on that shit.
Ethan Page should be like upper mid
Absolutely, he
heel.
came in.
Imagine him right now in a feud with Ricky Starks. How
That
interesting
would
that
be
could be in the
solid.
back and forth on the microphone
That
and
is
type of
solid
matches.
right there. I
You
like
know what I mean?
that.
Something like that. And then you have two guys that, think about like those Rock and Triple H and when they were coming up before when they were in that Intercontinental
like that.
rung. You know what I mean? How they grow together as face and heel and flip flop and swap, and then you can fast forward 5 years from now and see them in the world title picture, and they're still feuding. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't just get him away from Matt Hardy like that. This contract.
I agree. This contract thing is ridiculous because it's like it's going to end anytime soon. Because now it's going to be another battle of contracts, and yeah, man. There's one thing that AEW is going to do is just fill time with some stupid ass fucking.
And like the story here is that they're trying to Matt Hardy's trying to rehabilitate and get all
Ethan
the bad
Page's
traits
career.
out of him, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So he disbanded the firm, but on either Rampage, I think it's on Rampage tomorrow, he's teaming with Big Bill and Lee Moriarty, speaking about Ethan Page in a match. Like, what are we doing?
Because Lee Moriarty and Big Bill are essentially going to be a tag team in their own right.
No, that part. But like the firm was disbanded and they decided to stick together. But if you're Matt Hardy and you have control over Ethan Page's contract and you're trying to get him to do better, then why do you not veto him being teamed up with the people that you were trying to get him away from?
This shit above our pay grade, King.
Like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever.
Texas Tornado. Fire. Yep. One of the better Texas Tornado matches I've seen in a while because I had zero expectations for that shit.
This was one of those matches where I was looking, I was like, all right, whatever. This is going to be what it's going to be. And, like, this slapped.
Yep.
Like,
fucking rock.
First, Preston Vance was leaking. Hook wrapped that chain around his got up on the barricade, jumped off, smacked Preston Vance in the temple. He's leaking. Then there's the suplex into the tables. There's Dralistico jumping over in the Jack Perry. Like,
and all of this without Roosh coming through and bulldozing through both of these guys.
Right.
So that's very telling. So I think this was a hell of a night for Vance and Dralistico finally. And I'm ready for Jack Perry to knock Hook senseless and get this guy on I want Jack Perry to reunite with Christian and Luchasaurus over the course of this year.
I like that.
As a heel faction.
Just on some shit, on some like, yo, you were right.
Yeah, you were right. Like, yo, this good guy shit is stupid. Like,
right.
Because it's wild that, like, Jungle Boy was like, yeah, I don't want to partner with Hook a couple months ago. Looks like a doofus in the Pillars match because he got exposed. And then it's like, all right, maybe I did have to actually fucking tag team with you, which I thought was funny as I'm watching. I'm just like, now they're just back again. And it's just like, I didn't need this before, but now it's like, actually, I do. So I don't know. I just hope. Right. Do you think they'll go heel? Do you think you think he'll switch? Do you think they're just gonna play us and they're just gonna be babyface this whole time?
It
feels the writing's on the wall. It feels like it could happen at any time.
I don't know.
Why wouldn't you?
But like, I don't know. Just looking at what I've seen on TV,
the crowd's not responding.
No. I don't know that Jack Perry has actually given any kind of a hint. Like, this is all kind of things that we all want to see and people are talking about and is being written about. Maybe they're talking about it in AEW, but there's been very little that he's done that says, oh, he's leaning this way, right? Maybe he's holding on to the chair a little bit longer.
He's
but
in all black. He's just waiting for the right time to strike.
What happened yesterday, matter of fact, to actually support that point, is ripping Dralistico's mask. When you rip a luchador's mask, that's about as heel as it gets.
Yeah.
Right? So the bottom line is he's getting more aggressive. Like, there was that little tease at the pay-per-view when he had the world title when he decided to throw it out.
Yep.
Right? So it could be that maybe that was like the light bulb that, all right, I should be, like you were saying earlier, this babyface shit is stupid. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's like this little seeds that have been planted. It's just, when does it happen and why specifically do you turn on Hook? That's the other part. Like, what did Hook do to you?
Jealousy. Just pure jealousy. Jealousy or just making a statement. Tired of being overlooked.
Yeah, it could be that. Could be
You're
that.
about to, Jungle Boy could actually get overlooked by Hook just off the reactions alone. People didn't react the way they usually do this past Dynamite. I noticed that. I watched the show live.
I
Like
mean, it was
they didn't
also
react.
yeah.
They reacted more to Hook than they did Jungle Boy.
That's
Usually it's
because
like, but
that Pillars feud
didn't
didn't
happen,
really
bro.
do him any favors. It
That did
exposed
not
him.
happen. Yes.
Yeah, he ain't really the coolest guy right now.
Yes. Next up.
All right, so next up, so yeah, Jack Perry, Jalistico taps out, and Perry and Hook win. Tony Khan announces that the first main event match for the debut of AEW Collision, which is next Saturday, June 17th, it's going to be a trios match. It's going to be CMFTR, CM Punk, and the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR against Samoa Joe and Bullet Club Gold, Switchblade Jay White, and Juice Robinson.
Big rub. Pause.
Only thing that I'm trying to figure out is what business does Samoa Joe have with Bullet Club Gold?
Muscle Ring of Honor TV champion in history with CM Punk and somebody.
History with CM Punk, sure. And these are the rumored matches. It was always like people think that he's been talking about matches with Samoa Joe and talking about matches with Jay White. But like on television, I don't think that Jay White and Samoa Joe have ever interacted unless I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Like, what business do they have together? What business does Samoa Joe have with Juice Robinson? So
just the sake of this match.
That could come into play, though. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this was signed by Tony. Yeah, this was signed by Tony, but I don't really rock with that dude. So maybe that comes into play at some point. But yeah, I mean,
hope we get a different set for Collision. I hope
that's what I was about to say. Like, I want Collision to look different and feel different than Dynamite.
Not Nitro and Thunder, because essentially you've given us that with Dynamite and Rampage. They have the same exact show, different time slot, just undercard on one and hierarchy on the other. So it's like make Collision feel like a whole new experience. That's the one thing I really hope to watch next Saturday. And I want to feel a new experience when I watch Collision. I want to be like, wow, this feels like we're going to see some people we don't get to see often.
I mean, that's the thing between Andrade and Powerhouse Hobbs, who hasn't been on TV in a minute.
Yo, he's on TV tomorrow night, man. He's got a singles jobber match against Interchangeable Guy. So he's he's in a great position, man. He's not cooked. He's not prepped. He's not anything. He's just, he's good.
Hobbs, you're on the poster. No. He's on the poster for a brand new show.
He's on the wanted poster. You're right. He's on the wanted.
That ain't the wanted poster.
That's a wanted poster.
Why?
Nobody on that show has been around for ages, so you're supposed to care about all these people now.
I'm saying that means that they're going to actually focus on the people that are on that poster, because that's the roster.
Which is a wanted poster of people that you don't see. So it's like you're supposed to.
But now you're going to see them highlighted on the brand new show.
Remains to be seen if they're highlighted on the brand new show. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Who else are they going to highlight?
Bro, they might still give us 10 minutes of Sky Blue versus Tony Storm.
Then that's a look for Sky Blue, no?
7-match trilogy.
That's a look for Sky Blue, because she ain't getting anything substantial any other day. No. Hobbs is fine. You got, Miro coming back, Andrade coming back. What you call it? I was about to say Summer Walker. Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa and Summer Walker is insane. That is like complete opposites of a person. It's insane. Clip this up. COE, baby.
Yo, you can't get any two people more different than Summer Rosa. Summer Rosa
sound like some fire. Summer Rosa sound like this, honestly. Yeah. Summer Rosa sound like this.
Yo,
let me get some of the Summer Rosa real quick.
Yo, let me get some of that Summer Rosa. Word up. All right, next up, we had Takeshita squash match against a guy named Damon Ace. But the story here is he comes out. I love the fact that they're still doing the no music just so you can hear them boos like they would.
That's
they
great.
Did last week. Wasn't quite as over the top as it was last week, but it built. Like Don Callis pulled that shit out of the crowd.
Show to show, city to city. Yeah. So imagine New York. Oh, man, come on.
There you go. But, yeah, so they're just doing that thing where he's still blaming – Don Callis is still putting the blame for why he's not with Kenny Omega on Kenny Omega. You know what I mean? So a lot of good things happening here. There was a sign, matter of fact, that I saw. Huh?
We skip over Statlander?
Nah, it's still on the way. There was a sign that I saw. Somebody was like, "Where's Coda?" or "How's Coda?" or something like that. Like last week, Hangman Page said uh, Kenny Omega's not in America right now. So we're left to assume that he's either in Canada or he's in Japan. He's riling up his homies. That's Kota Ibushi, possibly Okada, but definitely Kota Ibushi. Golden Lovers shit. So
with if that's who Kenny's rounding up, then who is Don Callis rounding up?
I think he rounded up Takeshita already.
But
So
who else is the
I'm not
family that he's speaking of? He's got a family he's speaking
He
of.
does, but I don't know. You know what I mean? There's no
This
there's
might be a
no
little bit more of your wheelbarrow. So it's like who's left?
no because I think like
That's not with Blackpool Combat Club. That's not with actually you're never mind. I think I might answer my own question. Bullet Club. Bullet Club. David Finlay or anyone else that's still left is going to be because you figure everybody that's on the side with Blackpool Combat Club and their feud, everyone that's on the side with Omega and their feud, who's still scraggling right now in Japan?
I don't know because I
Bullet
think
Club.
like the other thing is like these. But I think Bullet. If we're talking about what's happening in the next couple of weeks of Forbidden Door, what I really think is going to happen with Bullet Club is like Jay White was kicked out of Bullet Club by David Finlay.
Yes.
And then he came over here and he's still using the Bullet Club name. He's just calling it Bullet Club Gold. They don't recognize that shit. But we've been busy over in Japan doing our thing, but we got this Forbidden Door coming up. So they might check him. Either at the pay-per-view or they'll set up some kind of a match. Somebody will call somebody out.
Right.
I think that'd be, a route to go for them. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're bringing in Kota to have a match against Takeshita at Forbidden Door. And I think it's Ibushi versus Takeshita at Forbidden Door.
Okay.
And Ibushi is obviously winning that match. You know what I mean? He's winning.
Don't be so sure. Don't be so sure, man. Anything can happen.
Unless it's shenanigans. Like Takeshita's a stud. You know what I mean?
He's having a hell of a run right
for sure.
now.
Takeshita's a stud, but Kota Ibushi's Kota fucking Ibushi. So we'll see.
Even John Cena took an L to Austin Theory.
Yeah, and look at how that turned out for Austin Theory.
He didn't have a Don Callis in his corner.
They don't have nobody in his corner. John Cena wasn't in his corner. John Cena, he came back for the check and the check only.
Oh man,
that was awful. That was awful. Backstage, Alex Marvez with Christian Cage, and basically he beat up Arn Anderson's son Rock. So we know where this is going. Wardlow has to avenge the old man's young boy.
Wardlow Luchasaurus should be really damn good. And that should be the segue to get the title off Wardlow and not back on Wardlow for a fourth time.
Leave that shit on him. He can't lose that anytime soon. He can't lose that shit anytime soon.
I beg to differ, man. I think
if he loses, you do what with him?
If I can't predict that, but I will hypothesize that if Jericho calls Adam Cole next week, Wardlow will lose the TNT title and be the middle with the MJF until we get to Adam Cole. MJF again.
Nah, I don't think he's ready for a world title picture whatsoever.
But he's not going to win the world title picture. He's just in there because
he shouldn't even be in it because it's going to be a foregone conclusion. So people are going to think it's whack.
That's why it's filler for Trouble at the Bubble.
Nah, we don't need that shit. Keep the title, the TNT title, on him. Once we get through the Christian, I would like him and Jericho.
I'm tight Christian didn't even win.
Put Wardlow with Jericho.
I'll give you that. I will give you that. That is some filler that can work because Jericho needs to get
Wardlow with Jericho.
He's got to. But I don't think I really want to watch. I don't think I want to watch that though.
I don't really want to watch too much Jericho at this point.
Yes, I don't want to watch a lot of Jericho matches. And it's like Wardlow's already who Wardlow is. So it would have to be a squash heel fest. Like Jericho doing the works and then Wardlow just catching them and just bodying them.
But the only reason I say you give Jericho to Wardlow is because you damaged this dude Wardlow so much that now you have to give him matches and victories over established names. That's why he's in there with Christian. Luchasaurus is just an offshoot of Christian. That's his heavy. So you do the same thing with Chris Jericho. You have him run through the JAS. I'd like the JAS to be done as well, to be honest.
They are holding on for dear life, yo.
Yeah. But in general, I don't think if he loses now, it's just going to be a repeat. whatever little momentum he has now, just keep that shit going. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Don't take that shit off of him yet.
Right.
But yeah, so that was backstage. Alex Marvez. This is the TBS Championship Open Challenge match. Chris Statlander against Anna JAS. Chris Statlander with the tombstone for the victory. I like her using the tombstone. If for whatever reason, I just feel like it fits her because she's so much bigger than a lot of that division that she looks like, very credible using that as a finish. It's weird too because she had the 450 last week and a tombstone this week.
She's trying to find something that sticks. My thing with Chris Statlander is I just hope she sticks to not being injured. Like if Chris Statlander can stay healthy, then shout to Long Island. But history has shown that Chris Statlander won't be around for a lot of the times out of the year.
Hey,
so here's to hoping her legs and her knees hold up for sure. I'm not wishing no injury on nobody, but if you see Brandon Roy play basketball, chances are you're like that nigga's gonna be out of here in a couple.
Oof.
So
I ain't heard that name in a minute. That's painful.
But I'm saying, some people that's like, it's like, all right, AD. If you see AD play 82 games, you're gonna be like, that's a fucking mirage. So I hope Chris Statlander holds it down. Taya being the old, crafty veteran heel, it's good fodder. You're right. Gets her over. She needs somebody credible to face.
Yeah, I think that they just need to push the pedal a little bit on what this issue is. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the second week in a row that we've seen Taya backstage staring at the TV at that weird ass angle that they made fun of.
Pay-per-view. There's no pay-per-view, so there's really no point of them pushing the button on.
But it doesn't need to be a pay-per-view match.
I mean, we've only got Trouble at the Bubble, like outside of Forbidden Door. That's not a Forbidden Door type of show.
But yeah, it doesn't need to be a pay-per-view match because they only do 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year. You need to have these championship matches, big matches on shows sometimes, and you don't always need to stack them up to where there's like 5 championship matches either. So and it's a TBS title, it ain't the world title. You know what I mean? So let's just see what's
lengthier
the issue,
matches than what Jade has been doing the last year and a half. So I will give you that. They're at least putting emphasis on no, we'll have match.
TBS champion on TBS defending it 2 weeks in a row. You know what I mean? So this is cool. And again, it sets the stage for Jade to come back. And when she's elevated, we've seen little glimpses here and there that she can do what she needs to do. It's just giving people to do it against. But anyway, almost at the end of the episode, we have a bunch of announcements for the upcoming couple of shows. For starters, as announced this Friday on Rampage, is four-way match for a title shot. You got Britt Baker, Sky Blue, who always loses, Mercedes Martinez, who's never on AEW television, and Nyla Rose, who just lost last week to the aforementioned Chris Statlander.
Essentially.
And the winner faces Tony Storm. I don't understand what qualifies 3 out of the 4 to even be in the conversation, but
all the women that showed up and are available and aren't in Japan right now.
Yeah, that's your women's division.
If Emmy and Rio were here, they'd be in this match too.
I really, 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 really hope one day we sort this corny ass formula out.
We stop rotating from the same 6 women in the women's division of AEW. Yeah, hopefully.
In the 15-minute block that they give them every
rotating 6 women in terrible. 15 minutes is insane, yo. Every week is wild. It's getting outlandish here, folks. 2 titles, 7 women, 15 minutes. You do the math.
Terrible. And then also announced next week's Dynamite. So there's the Mogul Embassy, Swerve and the Homies against Darby Allin, Sting, Orange Cassidy, and Keith Lee. That's going to be fire. The World Championship Eliminator match, MJF and Adam Cole. The Trios match, Blackpool Combat Club against Hangman Page and the Bucks. That's a stacked show.
Pretty tight. I saw what you meant by the message. I was like, after watching the show in its entirety, I was like,
there's a lot of shit going on that episode. And
you got to figure wrestling. That's a pretty serious show.
Yeah, exactly. He's wrestling on TV. I figure that they're going balls to the wall next week to get people excited to tune in on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit. Yeah, that too.
Main event: Absolute Ricky Starks against Bullet Club Gold's Switchblade Jay White.
Takes a swing.
We already know who won this match, and it was a very good match. What I'm interested in is your theory. You can take it from there.
Juice Robinson will be bigger than Jay White in AEW. I'm pretty confident in that. He's got more charisma. He's got more pizzazz. He can talk on the mic. He can wrestle. He has got history with Jon Moxley in actual credible matches that people really still enjoy. He's got history across New Japan, and he's also just somebody that stands out in size and just performance. Jay White has been billed as somebody that is game changing. He is catalyst, who you build the brand around. I haven't really tapped too much into Jay White outside of the last year. So over the last year, I've just been doing my Jay White, just watching, following, trending, and it's like, what makes this guy better than Tyler Bate? And I watch NXT. Tyler Bate would kick Jay White's fucking ass, actually. Noam Dwar might actually kick Jay White's ass, actually. There's a lot of people in NXT UK that might kick Jay White's ass. But Jay White's not bad. I'm not saying Jay White's not ill. But what makes Jay White stand out? He looks like Adam Cole and Adam Hangman Page had a wrestling baby. And he speaks Britain. He speaks New Zealander. Sorry to my New Zealand people. The phrase, whatever it is. I love y'all, man. Shout out to New Zealand. But yeah, man. It just doesn't really seem like Jay White is someone who's going to surpass Juice Robinson. It feels like Juice is going to lap him. Even just in presence, Juice feels more of a person than Jay White. Jay White feels like the robotic British villain. And it's like, dude, I mean, the work in the ring is good. It's really good. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's like, what makes Jay White better than Tyler Bate? What makes Jay White stand out more even than his own partner before he gets Marty Jannetty? And I'm saying it here on the Ringside Club. Juice Robinson. I'm rock hard. Pause. Take swig.
That shit was one of the most outlandish segments you will ever see in the history of the Ringside Club. Juice Robinson,
motherfuckers.
Juice Robinson, for starters, I went on record.
You did.
When Juice Robinson first came to AEW, you, Ron, Boog said, "Get this motherfucker off of my television screen. He's whack.
I know.
Don't want to see him."
I know I did.
And I said, once you get into Juice Robinson's personality, and how over the top he is and how entertaining he actually is, and he's good in the ring. He's good in the ring. And the fact that he's Bullet Club, he's going to be the conduit for the rest of the Bullet Club, and however that works and shakes out. Spot on, spot on, spot on, spot on.
He was on the money with that.
I want to give myself some props for that. Juice Robinson will never surpass Jay White because Juice Robinson is a clown.
I would never say never, bro.
Juice Robinson
Montez Ford is a clown. Montez Ford is a clown, and people look at Montez like he's the bigger deal.
Then who? Angelo Dawkins? No shit. And Jay White.
Juice Robinson for starters compared to Jay White, I think.
I don't even mean to demean him. I mean clown by character. You don't take him serious.
He has more personality because he has more personality.
Because he's a clown.
Jay White is a Bond villain that just seems like, yo, we have enough of these guys. Look at MJF. We have a couple other guys.
Check this out. Jay White, for the entirety of his main event run, which has been about 3-4 years, I would say, is always figuring out a way to position himself as the leader of the crew. So for starters, he has experience as the leader of the crew. He has the credentials as a main event wrestler, multiple-time world champ. Juice Robinson has none of that. Juice Robinson has the credentials of being the homie, the guy who does what he's told to do, the guy who holds the guy down.
Juice Robinson trumps Jay White just like that. Just how you said it. That's just how you said it. That's how he trumps him because he's more relatable. He's more enjoyable and relatable. He will be the reason that people go, yo, I actually like this group because Juice Robinson's energy is like giving me some fucking life.
All right, cool. So how many acts, how many stables, groups in the history of wrestling have you ever seen the serious character who's positioned as the main event guy taken advantage of by the sidekick clown? Is usually the guy, maybe the enforcer.
Sami Zayn.
And look how it turned out for him. Yo, Series Wildin'. Hold on. Series Wildin'. All right. I ain't asked you for shit. Hey, Siri. Stop. There we go. Shouts to Siri. Look how that turned out for Sami Zayn. Was he ever positioned as the
He
guy
main evented consecutive pay-per-views,
and
has
lost?
quality victories, won, main evented WrestleMania. I ain't
If
saying
you
Drew Robinson could be AEW world champion, but I'm saying he probably will be higher than Jay White in the hierarchy in about
in what
7.
in the hierarchy of AEW, it's never going to happen.
Yo,
That's not
crazier
his
things have
role.
happened. Crazier things have happened. Keith Lee and Swerve have never had a match, and they've been feuding for the last 7 months.
I mean, that's bad booking. We see that shit multiple times a week.
You know what I
All
mean?
I'm saying is that Juice Robinson is never going to be positioned as the guy ever, and Jay White has already been the guy.
I won't even disagree with you that he won't be placed as the guy, but I will say he'll be higher than Jay White 7 months from now.
Put something on it.
I think I'll
Put
give it
something
a
on it.
calendar year. I'll
Put
put a
something on
double on it. I put a double on it that Juice Robinson will have a higher trajectory in AEW than Jay White.
Cool.
I don't think Juice Robinson falls
I'll
out of
be
favor.
very happy to collect that.
I don't think Juice falls out of favor. I think Juice actually will be the one that makes you go, yo, actually, I like this fucking Bullet Club Gold shit because of Juice Robinson. When Juice Hive starts to go crazy.
Again, that part might be true. Like, you might like the faction because of the work that he does, because he's entertaining. That doesn't mean that in the hierarchy of AEW he's ever going to be positioned higher. Yo, Jay White right now, in 6 months, depending on who's the champion, could be a world championship contender. You cannot say the same for Juice Robinson.
Anything's possible, my boy. I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'll take that dub too. But yeah, absolute Ricky Starks loses to Switchblade Jay White. And then we see the 2 newest members, so it seems, of Bullet Club Gold. I love it, love it, love it. Gun Club, Colton and Austin.
3/10 of Yuma, and that's what does it.
The obnoxiousness is about to be off the chain, man. So I'm here.
Gun Club
I'm here for it.
had one of the most memorable title losses ever, and I think that's pretty okay because they are kind of just interchangeable in that sense. So they're going to come get their title shots back from FTR, and we will see a feud of Ricky Starks playing third, fourth fiddle to FTR, CM Punk, Bullet Club Gold, and Gun Club. Awesome.
Hey.
Awesome. Ricky Starks, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you on Collision. If Ricky Starks is main eventing Rampage 4 months from now, I should tell you what's going on with Ricky Starks, yo.
I don't know. Like, I for me, like, I like Ricky Starks, but I don't know.
I said he's prepped, man. I ain't say he was all the way cooked, but it's like my man had a higher trajectory, and if he ain't going for that TNT title anytime soon, what you think gonna happen at the end of this feud? He gonna be in the conundrum of 4 different other entities, and he ain't the biggest one of either of them.
I don't know. It's tough because there's a lot of people that the mid card is very crowded. All right, just between those 3 pillars, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, there's a lot of young guys coming up. Hook. There's a lot of young guys that kind of exist in that same sphere,
right?
Of like, who's going to be the guy to kind of elevate themselves a little bit more. Orange Cassidy's done it. I think Darby Allin has done it. We'll see what the other guys do. But yeah, word up.
It's been a good show, man. We
extra survey
about everything.
What's the extra survey this week?
Omega Ospreay who takes the pinfall.
I think Omega, because I think Omega takes the. I think Omega loses. Nah, Omega wins because Ospreay is desperate and he's injured, so he's gonna get overly emotional. He's gonna make a mistake, and Omega's still the man. But I think somehow, some way, by next Wrestle Kingdom, Ospreay is gonna figure out a way to get a third match, and that's when he finally beats Omega. But I don't think he's ready yet.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Will Ospreay. So that way, this frees up the Bullet Club and the Elite to keep going throughout the summer, and Ospreay gets this bad boy back and continues to reign terror on New Japan. 1-1, which gives us a rubber match in Wembley, if need be.
At Wembley rubber, Jesus.
Because if Omega wins this one, then it's like do we really need Will Ospreay at Wembley?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think he would figure out a way, but Just I forget how close this Wembley show is.
It's like right around the corner.
This is
I
right
mean,
around the
it ain't
corner.
it ain't that close because we still got Forbidden Door and we have no pay-per-views the entire summer. So that's July and August of just Trouble at the Bubble and Quake at the Lake and Fighter Fest and the other one. So that could be where we see some of these interchangeable random appearances pop up. But I don't think they're wasting a Will Ospreay on Trouble at the Bubble. So we either get an Ospreay win at Forbidden Door, or we get a rubber match at Wembley, or we get a loss from Ospreay. And what the fuck does he do in AEW? I mean, he's the champion, obviously, but it's just like we don't really need him out here. I mean, we're good.
Yeah, I might change I might say Ospreay takes a W. Just for the same reason, because he's desperate. He needs that win back, and Omega could also be like distracted figuratively and literally about what's going on with Don Callis.
So much going on. Don Callis and that family line. I'm not sleeping on that family line. He keeps mentioning that family, and we're going to see who it is. But we've been podding. We've been wrapping it up about wrestling.
Word up.
Tired, man. Let's get to bed, man. Pause. I'm trying to get some Z's, you know what I mean?
All right, this has been the Ringside Club for your man's Chad Law.
Subscribe. Buy. Shop. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's the Ringside Club, motherfuckers.
Peace.